All right, let's jump right in. It feels like it happened overnight, but a brand new billion-dollar market has just appeared. And at the heart of it all is a really simple question. But the answer, well, the answer is shaping a whole new economy right in front of our faces.
Think about it. Every single AI you use, well, it had to learn from somewhere, right? It was trained on mountains of articles, videos, images, you name it. And that content? Real people made it. So now that AI is rocketing towards being a trillion-dollar industry, who exactly gets paid for all the raw material that makes it run? That's the core fight we're going to unpack.
So, to tackle this huge problem, three main playbooks have really started to emerge. First, you've got the data broker model, which is all about selling content in massive bundles. Then there's the collective licensing model, where you sell the legal right to go out and get the content. And finally, you've got the most ambitious one, building a whole new set of pipes, brand new infrastructure for this new AI economy.
Okay, so let's start with the big guys, the incumbents. These are the two giants who are really running the show in what we're calling the training era. And that's exactly what it sounds like. The era focused on just feeding these historical archives of data to AI models to get them built in the first place.
First up, we have ReHI. Now, you might actually remember these guys from their past life as BBTV, which was a massive YouTube multi-channel network. They were already a huge player in the content world, and now they have pivoted hard into AI.
And when I say they're a giant, I am not kidding. They're sitting on a war chest of over $130 million. And with that kind of money, you can make some really big, really fast moves.
So what's their game plan? Simple. REII is a classic data broker. They've gathered this absolutely staggering library of video, we're talking 5 petabytes worth, from creators who've opted in. They just package it all up and basically sell a giant hard drive full of data to the big AI labs for a flat fee. It's the fuel for the next big AI model.
Now for our second giant. This one started out as a company called Calliope Networks, but they were almost immediately snapped up by a heavily backed AI data company called Protégé. So you've got this powerful new team up on the field.
Calliope plays the game a little differently. Their whole model is built around this idea they call a license to scrape. See, instead of selling the data itself, they're like a copyright middleman. Creators sign a deal with them, and then Calliope turns around and sells AI companies the legal permission to go and scrape that content themselves. Basically, they handle the legal side so the AI companies don't get hit with lawsuits.
So let's just lay it all out. You've got RHI selling bulk data on one side and Calliope selling the legal right to get that data on the other. Both are swimming in cash, and here's the key. They are both laser-focused on the exact same market, selling historical, backward-looking content to train AI models. Right now, they are the undisputed kings of the training era.
But what if their whole strategy, the very thing that made them the kings, is built for a world that's already on its way out? What if the next phase of AI needs something completely different? Well, this is where a challenger steps into the ring.
Meet the underdog in this fight, a company called Metastamp. Now, they are tiny compared to these giants, but they're making a huge bet that the fundamental way AI works is about to shift. Okay, now this right here is the most important concept to get your head around. The training era is all about these huge one-time purchases of old data to build the AI. But the future, where Metastamp is placing its bet, is the inference era. And this is a world where AI agents are out there actually doing things, and they need to constantly pull live real-time data to get their jobs done. So how on earth does a tiny underdog even begin to compete? Well, you don't fight money with less money. You fight it with a totally different weapon. In this case, a new piece of technology built from the ground up for this new inference era. And here's where you can really see that technological edge. For an AI agent to go out and scrape a web page for info, it can take about 5,000 milliseconds. But using Metastamp's system, it gets that same info in 0.3 milliseconds. Now, that might sound like a tiny difference, but when you scale that up to trillions of AI tasks a day, that speed difference literally saves companies millions and millions of dollars on computing costs. So how does this tech actually work? Well, it's really built on 4 key ideas that all work together. First, they use this kind of forgotten piece of internet code for payment required, which lets them handle instant micropayments. We're talking fractions of a cent in real time. Second, their system is built so AI agents can just automatically find and pull the data they need, no humans involved. Third, every transaction is atomic, which is just a fancy way of saying the content and the payment happen at the exact same time in one inseparable step.
You can't have one without the other, which guarantees creators get paid. And finally, all of this creates a permanent, unchangeable record, a perfect audit trail for legal and compliance folks.
You know, the best way to think about their strategy is with this quote. They're not trying to be a giant library of data. They're trying to be the payment network. Think about it like this. They don't want to be the merchant selling you stuff. They want to be the Visa network that sits underneath every single transaction, taking a tiny, tiny slice of what could become trillions of these little micropayments.
So, okay, they've got this slick new tech, but what's the actual strategy to win? Because when you really take a hard look at the battlefield, the odds, well, they look pretty much impossible.
I mean, this is a classic asymmetric fight. The giants have all the money, the established relationships, and frankly, the market just thinks in their terms right now. The underdog, Metastamp, all it has is its different technology, a focus on this coming inference era, and a solution that, oh, by the way, actually saves AI companies a ton of money on compute.
And all of this brings us to the future, because this isn't really a story about just 3 companies. It's a story about 2 completely different visions for how the entire AI content economy is going to get built. The fight for the training era might be in full swing, but the war for the inference era, that's only just getting started.
And so that leaves us with the one question that really matters. And it doesn't just impact these tech companies, it impacts every single person who makes stuff for the internet. As we shift from building AIs to actually using them as active agents in the real world, which economic model is going to win? Will it be a future of a few massive multi-million-dollar backroom deals for old data that benefit a few huge companies? Or will it be a future with a constant humming stream of trillions of tiny fractional cent payments for live information flowing back to individual creators in real time? The answer to that question is going to define who wins the next chapter of the internet.